Okay, everybody. I think I'm running here. Yep, Parker was kind enough to all of you to ask for some. Let's see, what do we got? I'd like to see the solutions, chapters 16 to 23 homework. Okay. Excuse my cough. Um, I haven't been well, and I don't have the virus. They checked me all out, but I get something every spring, screws me up. All right, here we go. Here we go. 16 to 23, 16 to 23. Homework 15. I hope you're all doing well. 16 homework. Get as much as you can done. Don't be here's 6 students submitted. 8 students haven't started. Yikes. But get after it. And I think I gave you all the instructions on the final, so you should be good. So here's 16 homework, and I'm just going to run through it quick so that you can stop and start this tape and look at the solutions that you want to see. There's 2, right? Total cost accounting is the sum of total direct material costs. These are a pain in the neck, but you can get through them. I think that was 2. Yep. Okay. There's 8 in this chapter. 3. There's 3. 3 had these 2 requirements. Look at this big old thing here. And the second requirement was the work in process inventory, this this journal entry. And here's some of the explanations that go with that. For number 3, 4, there you go. Another big ass problem, but they're not that tough. I know they're a pain in the neck, but trust me, it was a lot worse when I did it. Not that it should have been, it just was. Okay, I'm moving around too much. I wanted to see if there wasn't another tab there. There's 5 and 6. Remember, my numbers are different. You know that, but this will give you the right idea, though. There's 5. With that explanation of cost of beginning work in process. That idea of conversion costs. 6 gives you that journal entry. And 7 and 8 are here. Qualco. Total units transferred assembly at 201,200. And this gives you the explanation. Beginning inventory, started and completed, transferred. This is useful, but mostly it's logical when you think about inventory. So I hope you got that. Did you get that? The top part. And here's the explanation of all those. Far out. Okay. So let's go to chapter 17. So, I should show you this exam. He was asking me about exams. I can't remember which ones. But here's a preview of, I think everybody did 13 to 15 exam. And you see the arrow here? I'm pretty sure the answer's in the same spot, even though the numbers are different. And I'll run through these. Now, I think for all of these, you have unlimited time to do them. And again, learn something. You can go through the motions and get a grade here, but this is the type of subject where you really can't help learning something, even against your will, if you try to get through the material. We've got explanations down here because these aren't easy. 18. 19. 20. 21. 22. 3. 4. 5. There we go. 29 and 30. If you're not watching the stock market, you ought to be. This is a pretty amazing time to be alive. But of course, not very surprising to me. I knew that at least the economic part of this had to occur. I had no idea that a glorified flu virus was going to cause this. And I think I'm pretty certain that we're going to find out that this has been one of the more amazing overreactions by government that's ever occurred, and probably the reason being that most everyone knew the wheels were coming off, and this makes a great excuse if you're a politician. So interesting that we forget it's an election year. Okay, here's homework number 1. Ooh, God, that's a wide one. Right? This is job order costing. Oh, that was 1 and 2. Did I get 2 in there? Oh, here's 2. Almost blew that. And an explanation for 2 is down here. To get that plant-wide rate and overhead. Got to really read these questions. This is a great setup for CPA exam questions or any type of question. This is what separates people out, is this ability to discern these questions and be successful at working them out. This is where IQ is really necessary. 51 cents a bottle. minimum price. Set for a bottle of Easy Slim, whatever the hell that is. And here's 1 and 2. 4, Easy Slim must cover the costs associated with the product, so the minimum price was 51. That way of getting to BE. Here's chapters 4 and 5, or I mean questions 4 and 5. Here's 4. Of course, that's got $9, $8. I hope you can see these. And there's 3, 3B, eliminate family style. It's so funny. But big companies make these types of decisions. If you go someplace and you're able to do this type of analysis, pull the book off the shelf and remember how to do this type of analysis, you're going to get paid to do it. Figure it out. Even in mergers and acquisitions, you would do this kind of stuff, and all sorts of, once you get into finance, you're going to want to know how to at least approach these types of problems. Okay, that's 17. Let's go to 18 homework. And another 5-question homework, which is nice. I've developed a Jolly Rancher habit that's pretty serious. So that's what you're hearing. Boom. Praveen Company. Here's questions 2 to 4. Chapter 18 again. Astro. There's contribution margin. Just a different way to do costing. Remember these as you go along in your business lives, and each time you approach a new company or where you are, they'll use a different method. Some don't know what the hell method they are using. And it'll be up to you to classify it and understand it. There's 4 and one more. There's 5. Looks like that. BE. Dollar sales for each product. And here's the calculations down here to get there. Okay, that's 18. Let's take a look at 19. I have a little counter here. 19, it tells me how many minutes I've been on. I don't know if YouTube limits me, but I don't see why they would. I don't know much about any of this crap. I just started doing it myself. 10 students not started. You better get going. But again, I want you to know that I don't think I'm going to fail anybody, so get your work in, learn this stuff, but don't think that you're going to fail and be freaking out and not doing any work because you've just given up. That's a bad idea. Always a bad idea. There's the explanation down there. 1 and 2, did I get both of those? 1. Oh, there's 2. I don't think I did. 2, there's the explanation. Okay. 3. 2 requirements and 3. Here's the my numbers, additional information. Again, reading through these slowly and writing them out and stuff like that really helps. Fill in the blanks here. 20,000 units at 8 overhead, right? Yes. Okay. And number 4. Here's my stuff. Blazer Chemicals. There's how it came out. COGS. And a little income statement for the absorption method. And here we are with explanations. When you get in the second half of the book, you realize I'm about to write an article on how crappy accounting standards are. And that's one of the reasons that the stock market's collapsed. The PE ratios and nothing is real. Okay, now we're on chapter 20, homework. Okay. 6 questions here. This is budgeting, right? Direct labor budget. Budgeting is handy. I hope you know that. Something that CMC doesn't know how to do. They create a budget that makes everything they do look wonderful, and that's a dumbass budget. July. Here's number 3. Built tight. Here's our cash budget. So simple that do these. It's a little bit of busy work putting it together, but grade school prepared you for that. Number 4. Here's budgeted sales. Now, when you go and put if you ever start a business and you start putting together some what I call pro forma statements, financial statements, this is what you'll do. You'll do a budget for the bank too, and you'll do some proposed income statement, balance sheet, that kind of stuff. But then you'll do a budget like this and show them here's what we budgeted. Here's how it looks to us, and be able to defend the numbers in your budget. This exercise helps you, set you up to be able to do that on your own. All right. That's what I did. I bought that dumb farm when I was 24, and I did that. I made a budget. I had no clue. Every farm is different, but I walked onto this property with a clipboard, and I started trying to figure out what it was going to take for me to feed these cows and what my sales were going to be in raw milk, and I did some growth expectations that were very conservative. And price, the price of milk is set by the government, unfortunately. Did I do all that? 20? And let's see what I did here. I hope I did. Oh, that's not what I want. I want preview. But anyway, and I literally did that, and no one helped me. I had nobody with me. It was me. And oh, I don't think I did this one for sure. I'm gonna slowly scroll through here. so that you can stop and look and let me go through each one of these. But you may find yourself involved in that kind of process. Hopefully, you don't have to do it alone. I didn't bring my dad in as a partner till later, but my mom and dad knew what I was up to, and you had to know my mother. I was like, how do I do this? She's like, I don't know, figure it out. I got an accounting book and I figured it out because I didn't take accounting. I was an ag student, but I read an accounting book and I figured it out. Okay. Now, I'm thinking that maybe I didn't show you number 5. If not, there it is. Cash budget. There's the calculation. Cash budget's really important. I mean, if you went on that stupid Shark Tank show, that you could walk in with that cash budget in your hand. Like, here's what I think, cash wise. That's what those clowns want to know. They make the show into like it's theater, but nonetheless, they're taking a stab at the fact that you can have enough cash to make it. And that's what cash budgeting is all about. Okay, now I think I finally covered chapter 20. I shouldn't talk while I'm doing this. 21, 13 to 15 we did. I want to do this 16 to 18 exam while I'm there, because you can run through this exam. It's only 30 questions on this one. I don't think I'm just gonna forego the last exam. If I may put it up, I don't remember. If it's up, do it. If not, oh well. Am I missing explanations? Nine, 10. I can see what I'm doing from over here. I have 2 screens going. Haha, you don't know that. And I can look at my other screen and see how long I've been on. But luckily, the beauty of this is you can just run this YouTube and sit there and stop and start it. And if you have 2 machines or 2 screens, you're really in great shape. If you don't, you might want to think of going down to Habitat and getting another screen and hooking it up to whatever machine you have. Especially if you're a business student, having an array is just so much easier. And PC, I mean, this is a PC I'm working out of. I don't know if you can see my office, but I should put a camera behind me so you can look. When I'm a YouTube sensation, I'll do that. My son Jim is laughing his ass off at me because my little studio is so silly. 24, 25, 26, 8, 29, and 30. So there you are with those. Right? That's that exam. Let's go back. we did chapter 20, and I'm going to do chapter 21 homework. There's 5 questions here too. It's not, I cut everything down. Ta-da. Call 2. Try to more of this costing. It's a wide one. This is just giving you variances so you can understand how to adjust your budgets each year. You know, you're trying to get as close as you can to reality so that you don't mess things up. Look at how they did this. This is really slick. You know, a great methodology to use. Here's the overhead variance report with the favorable or unfavorable readings. No further explanation needed there, right? When you do your capstone, you'll realize that this is really handy. All right, 4 to 5. Here's chapter 21's numbers 4 and 5. Here's all my figures. Here's number 4. Actual costs and standard costs, right? And you can see that method where you know it comes down to this favorable and unfavorable variances. Let's look at requirement 2. Right, same idea. Compute direct labor costs. Well, I'll show you that after. Let me show you these 3 controllable variants. Oh. And 4. Here's the explanations. 1, 2, 3, and of course 4 is not that, doesn't need any explanation. And what do we have down here? Number 3, overhead variances, right? And here's compute the variable overhead spending and efficiency variances. Do the same thing. I think I can get it all in. I got it all in, right? There's A and B, round cost per unit, read per hour to 2 decimal places, right? Use your head. And there's C, and here's what it looks like in the explanations. Yes, yes. 4 and 5 of 5, that's it. That's chapter 21. So now we go to chapter 22. Chapter 22 homework is here. No one's gotten this far, really. Again, 5 questions. This is budgets and actuals, right? Over, under. It's in the trailer department. And then here's the accounting performance report, right? That's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Here's 2 and 3. Oop, let me get you, make sure you see this. Here's my numbers. Here's the explanation. It's $8 a square foot. Here's number 3. Allocate depreciation, interest, and taxes under Linder and Chiro departments. Right? It's just allocation stuff. They're trying to get you to do the math. You know, so when you go to your job, you know how to do this, and you can wrap your head around it and do it. Number 4, lots of writing. Watch out for the dreaded red herring. Here's the income statements. Right? Sales, COGS, gross profit. Here's our expenses. Here's our allocated expenses. Here's our total expenses to get to net income. And it just goes horizontally to combine everything. Pretty simple, right? Here's the explanation. Sales, COGS, alternatively to get to COGS. Same idea. Gives you both methods. And number 5. Here's the question. Here's a little income statement for these 3. What do they have? After preparing, concerned about net loss, number 3 peaches. Well, they have different peaches. Oh, they're grades. Okay. Here's number 5. They have 1s, 2s, and 3s. I suppose the 1s go into jelly, and the 3s are... No, it looks like the 3s go into jelly. They're the cheap ones. Okay. That's chapter 22. Let's see what else we have here. Here's the exam. 1921. Oh, somebody put it in. 37 problems. I probably should have cut that down, but these are pretty easy, I think. Oh, my back is killing me because I'm short on Jolly Ranchers. That's my problem. That's number 4. Full explanation. There's 5. Right? Six. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. 13. 14. 15. Three. 4. 5. 6. Six. 37. Okay, that's that. what was that? That was exam 16 to 18? No, 1921. So, chapter 23, homework. I don't even have any chapter 24 homework, as you can see. And I don't have that last exam. And obviously, I'm going to let it go. Because who cares? You can take a look at that on your own. Get ready for next semester. If you're moving on in the accounting world, hopefully you've prepared yourself. What's interesting about accounting to me is I think that 121, 122, if you go all the way through this book, which hopefully by the end of this semester you have, it's all you need. Why the hell? Everything from here is sort of building on what we've already learned, and a lot of it's a little redundant, but nonetheless, and of course, you know, because I come from not an accounting background, I call bullshit on a lot of stuff that goes on in the accounting world. And I think that that's becoming obvious. But just on a very sort of editorial note, if you own a restaurant, if you ever buy a business, and I'll give you this advice because my father gave me this advice when I was starting to get into farming. And okay, so that should do it. Own your means of production. So you may think that I'm a heartless bastard and a capitalist. I happen to know that free markets have lifted more people out of poverty than any other system. It's like it's the best system we have compared to all the other systems, but it's not perfect. Clearly, this economic collapse, you know, obviously, I believe is produced in Washington, but there are some lessons for you, and one of the reasons I don't shed a tear for the local restaurant is that if you own a business and you do not own your means of production, Parker, you know this, if you don't own your tools, why are you a mechanic? You know, my toolbox was sort of my livelihood when I turned wrenches. I did not rent land when I fed my cows. I owned it. My father said, you make sure you own what it is that produces your income. The same thing goes with a restaurant. If you don't, everybody thinks it's absurd to own the building. Well, you know what's funny? You look at the immigrants, and they're so psyched about property rights that they tend to own their businesses. They tend to own the buildings associated with their businesses. So when something like this comes along, they're okay. You know, it sucks. The other thing that you'll find about immigrants is of all sorts, not just Mexican immigrants, is that they tend to have savings because in their country of origin, no one had savings, and you probably never made you're making subsistence, you know, kind of amounts of money. And so how much is prudent reserve if you're a restaurant? How much cash should you have on hand? Well, I would say 5 or 6 months of if you have a mortgage or something like that, because if you think that this is a black swan event, you're wrong. Something like this happens every decade or so. That's memorable. 9/11 was memorable. 208 was memorable. As long as the country keeps moving along like it is, every so often you're going to have this type of event. And if you're in the restaurant business, who's to say that, you know, you won't have some kind of salmonella thing or some BS at your restaurant where people don't want to come to it for a month or so. You better be ready. So the idea that you know, all these businesses are the airlines, forget it. I don't know anyone who's had a good experience with an airline in the last 10 years. So they should all go out of business. That's a ridiculous idea. The idea that nobody's going to take over where American left off is absurd. Somebody would come in and run a decent airline with, maybe we'll have fewer flights and fewer airplanes and that kind of stuff. But that probably needed to happen anyway. So be very careful in your analysis of who's being hurt and why, because generally it's back to Aesop's fables, the ant and the grasshopper. I just had a discussion with a gentleman who called me because he was going to the county commissioners meeting online, asking when to open up they got like the barons of business, that a number of businessmen in the valley to talk, and he called me to ask me my opinion, and I said you should have closed it. Should have just open it up. People like me who are high risk got to be careful. That's all. We can't grind everything to a halt because there's an illness around. If it's Black Death, it's going to kill us all anyway. But neither here nor there. This guy owns a rather large service business in the valley. I said to him, "How you doing?" He said, "Hey, we're all right. I got a cow in the freezer. I don't owe any money to anyone." He said, "I got a couple of vehicle payments on some of the trucks, but that's it." So he said, I got to lay everybody off, but I'm not going to go out of business. I'll be right back. So that's the difference between people who are over leveraged and those who are not. And as you move along in your accounting experience and your education, you're going to learn about that. Borrowing money is not good. Saving money is good. We have to get that through our heads. The federal government and the politicians have been punishing people who save for years. And I'm talking about 100 years, since 1913. And that's wrong. That's a wrong idea. The interest rate should be such that people want to save and they don't want to borrow because the interest rate is too high. So they tend to do things with cash. So anyway, that's my little diatribe. If I left anything out on here, please shoot me something on the discussion, or as Parker did, shoot me an email or something like that, and I'll keep on going. I'll put up whatever it is you need. But anyway, love you all. I hope you're all doing well and are healthy. And we're going to get through this. This is a good thing. It makes people take a look at what they're doing and who they are. Especially I always do. And it washes a lot of greed and materialism out of the system. So anyhow, that's where we'll end, and have a good day, and I will talk to you soon, I hope.